Hey friends, welcome to another wonderful episode of Coffee with Jeff and Bedros. My name is Bedros Koulian and you are?
Jeff Sherman.
Ta-da! Here we are. All right, we got a fun week of reviews planned ahead. So this is our episode, what, 3?
Number 3.
Episode number 3, we're rocking and rolling. So what do we got in review? What do you got going on?
So my family is still in town, but they were down in San Diego, so we went to La Jolla. We went cave kayaking in La Jolla.
Ah, yes.
It was pretty cool. Have you ever done that?
I have not been cave kayaking, but is this anywhere, I see the caves, is this anywhere near Black's Beach?
It's south of Black's Beach, past the pier.
Gotcha, it's south of
So
Black's
like
Beach.
La Jolla Cove, La Jolla Shores, I think it's called.
Where the sea lions hang out, right?
Oh yeah, their sea lions are really close. We went around one cove and they were like pretty much barking at us to get out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty comfortable with people snorkeling right around there.
Do you know what you get to see if you keep paddling north for about a mile?
Yeah, Black's Beach?
Yeah.
So I have a funny story about that. So remember when you did like a Fit Body World Conference at the Hilton at Torrey Pines?
I do.
So I got there early. I can't remember the guy's name. I don't think he's with Fit Body anymore. But we were talking and we're like, hey, you want to walk down to the beach? I heard it's not that far. We're like, yeah, sure. So we asked the guy like how to get down there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you follow this trail through like the, golf course and you end up to the beach. We're like, all right, cool. So we get to the beach. And right when we get to the beach, we look up and we see all these guys like hang gliding off the cliff. And so we turn left and we just start walking and we're talking. We're looking up at the hang gliders. We're looking up and we're coming around. We get around the corner and we see like they're coming straight over top of us. And we're like, all right, we want to turn back. We got to start looking around. And all we saw these like 70, 80-year-old naked dudes.
Yeah.
And we're like, whoa, how'd that happen? How do we get here? They're like, do we need to turn around and walk back through all of them? And like guys are like in 2 foot of water, knee-deep water, like, facing into shore, not out of shore.
They all face the shore.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
standard protocol.
We decided to climb up the cliff, the bluffs, to the hang gliding school instead.
That's also your fastest way out. Yeah, good move.
Yeah. Then when we get back, then we tell the concierge like, why didn't you tell us? Like, oh, I forgot to tell you not to go left, or at least don't go. There's like a piece of the cliff that like jets out almost to the water and kind of looks like a block, like a wall.
Yeah.
He's like, don't go around that.
Yeah. So one is the city side of Black's Beach, which is people have swimsuits and parks and beaches, and then the state side is where the nudity is.
But it is like the last legal place, huh?
Yeah, and it's nothing like the south of France nudity. No. This is like straight up old men nudity, which
the bad thing is that it's actually a good surf spot.
Right.
Ahmed loves going there for some reason.
Yeah, Ahmed likes to go there.
I'm sure Shanta would love it too.
Yeah, no, Shanta was there this morning, I heard. So. Yeah, and in fact, somebody should tag our friend Shanta on this live cast right now that we're doing.
But speaking of Shanta, we're starting a new fun project, Surfer Abs, and we did our Surfer Abs photo shoot and video shoot. Well, at least we attempted to. We are going to be redoing it 6 weeks from now. We're going to get a little leaner and shoot it over. But we still had fun. Waves are pretty big at Doheny, and
nice.
We did that as well.
Look at the calves on you, man. Yeah. And then this guy, he's actually 40 years old. He looks 14. He still gets carded when he goes to gay bars. Yeah, because that's where we were a week ago. Today, actually. But anyway, not taking a walk down memory lane here or anything. What else do you got? Have you seen any good movies?
Yes, the only movies I've seen in the last 6 years is pretty much every kid's movie that comes out. And me and Emily saw, every time Jessica has to work late, me and Emily go to the movies. We saw Despicable Me 3.
Yes.
It's a pretty good one. It was pretty funny.
This was actually my all-time favorite, this one, because he meets his twin brother.
Yeah.
Right? Gru and Crew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which was pretty sweet. But I'm wondering what happens when all the minions decided to leave him and go with Crew. But I guess we'll see.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you that are big Steve Carell fans, you definitely ought to see that. In other news in my life, I just finished writing the book. It is in the hands. Yeah, the book, the manuscript for Man Up is in the hands of the publisher. So now we spend the next 3, 4, 5 months going back and forth editing things out.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah. Done.
So when do you start the next one?
Not for a few years. This was definitely a process of giving birth, man, to an idea. You have these ideas in your head when you're writing a book, but then when you think about putting it on paper in a cohesive fashion,
it's hard to organize and
it really is.
Put it together to where it makes sense.
And when you think about how final the whole thing is, like this is it. When it goes to the publisher and it gets printed, like this is my work. It's definitely a scary feeling.
I know, like when Tim Ferriss writes his books, he likes to write it to where they're like a reference book, where you don't have to read it all the way through. You can open it up to certain chapters and pick and pull at what you want and what you want to learn.
Yeah.
Did you write your book to read from start to finish, or did you write it on different topics where you can skip to a certain topic that you're interested in and learn about that topic?
Good question. The book really does break down into 3 topics, 3 sections, and the section is you becoming a great leader, you identifying and being clear on your vision, and you having a strong team. So in that way, you can go to each section topic, but whether you read the whole section or whether you start the book end to end, I've woven a lot of great stories into it that give great example of the lessons that I'm teaching. So unlike Tim's book, you'll get more entertainment value out of it, for sure, if you go through the book end to end. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And I heard you got something that you've been waiting for in the mail?
Yes, yes.
Is this something that you bought or something that somebody sent you?
No, this is something that I bought. Yeah, it's funny that you say that. So I've been drumming since I was about 1 year old. My parents put little pillows around me. They put a dumbeki, which is a looks like a small conga drum, in front of my lap, and I just apparently had rhythm, and so
like Bam Bam.
Yeah, like Bam Bam. Yeah, you've been to my guest house. I've got the drum set, and I've got a lot of different drums, African drums, dumbekis, congas, etc.
Nice.
And so yes, and this is a cajon, and it's made of wood, although it doesn't have my picture on it. But that would be really cool if it did. But this is a cajon, and I got it, and I've been playing it at the HQ with some spicy Latin music in between writing breaks, and I really enjoy it. And little fun note, it's made of wood, and the way it's designed is where you can see where the hole is. It kind of gives a real good bass when you hit right in the center where my face is. But it's got like guitar strings. It's got guitar strings inside, which almost act as a snare drum built in.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah. And then I started something, a new 6-week challenge that's not, for the first time ever, it's not a physical challenge. This one's a new 6-week challenge. It's mental. Tony Robbins' course, Creating Lasting Change. And I decided I'm going to go through it over 6 weeks and really implement each section of the course 1 week at a time to see how much lasting change I can create in habits that I want to develop but don't have yet.
Nice. How far into that are you?
I start August 1st.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I have the course.
Do you have a list of changes that you want to implement? Any top 1 or 2 that come to mind?
Yeah. Truthfully, if I can be really honest, I'm the king of stress eating. So whenever I go through a growth phase in my business, I tend to stress eat. And one of the lasting changes that I want to create is where I can go through a growth phase in building my empire or any one of the businesses that we have, and then not have to stress eat throughout that time. Give you a great example. Writing the book, especially the first section of the book where the writing curve was more difficult, I consumed more cashews and almonds than probably the state of Rhode Island by itself.
You stayed lean though. How did you manage that?
Well, then it's like then you readjust your macros and all that stuff, right? But I don't want to go and readjust macros. I just want to be able to be disciplined where that's concerned. So there's a couple areas like that I want to change. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So next up is the most important things that we need to know this Monday. And today we're talking about disrupting society. People have made some big changes, in their industries. One of the new trends is, celebrities running for president. I know you're, a fan of The Rock. What would you think about, he wants to run for president? You think it's good, bad? What's the pros and cons of that?
You know what? We had a former, when you really go back in time, we really had someone who was the Rock of his time run for president and became president, Ronald Reagan, who was beloved by both parties. Most would argue that he was a great president. He was a cowboy, of course, and he's the modern day hero in movies today, The Rock. And so I think he's loved by all, by both parties. And people go, well, but he's not a politician. What does he know about world laws and rules and political delegation, all that shit? Listen, I don't know anything about it, but if I were to be made president, I'm guessing I would have a really good advisors around me who would help me in how to deal with the Afghanis, the Iraqis, whatever political climate changes that need to happen in order, right? It's not just one man making a decision. You probably have a group around you. What's your take on The Rock being president?
I mean, it could go either way, I guess, 50-50, but again, everybody does like him, and I think he would have good leadership qualities. So I mean, right here, like in the state of California, we had Arnold.
Arnold.
And I don't remember him being a politician before he was governor. And if it wasn't for the fact that he wasn't born here, he would have probably ran and became president.
Sure.
Because he was well loved as well. Like since you lived here while he was governor, I did not. Like, what did you think about him? What kind of job did he do?
Well, the guy that he replaced was so bad, Governor Gray Davis, that we recalled Governor Gray Davis to put Arnold in. And so comparatively speaking, he did awesome. And if you compare him to like some of the better governors we had, he didn't do as great, but he had to really dig California out of a lot of debt and all that stuff. So I think he did well. And part of being a celebrity, I think, is that you might get a little more cooperation from both parties, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, even though they run as a Republican or Democrat, I think most celebrities are more libertarian, but they don't say it. Kind of thing. Even Arnold, I think he's more
middle of the road,
socially liberal and fiscally conservative.
Yeah,
and then when you look at would be as well.
That's exactly right, man. And when you look at guys like whether it's Ronald Reagan or Arnold or The Rock, they bring such amazing work ethic. They have such strong humility. They show up with gratitude. If we had those three characteristics in the White House, I think we'd go far.
For sure.
So I'm all for it.
Awesome. And I've seen this in my news feed all week. Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent have been all over my news feed. I guess HBO has a new docuseries, the Defiant Ones. And 50 Cent was asked like who the greatest rapper of all time was, and he said, no question, it's Eminem. And he said it's hard for people to admit that because Eminem's white. And so what do you think of that?
Yeah, and I think his specific thing was that Eminem is a better rapper than Jay-Z.
Right, because Jay-Z just came out with like he already dropped his 444 album, and that's why the question was asked. Yeah. And is Jay-Z the greatest? And he's like, no, I think Eminem is the greatest of all time.
And we're back with Coffee and Cocaine with Jeff and Bedros. I get the coffee, he gets the... No, I'm kidding. All right, here we are. The screen was sideways. It is now horizontal, correct?
We're good.
All right, so let's do this. The topic at hand was what 50 Cent said about Eminem being the best rapper on the planet.
Being better than Jay-Z, being the greatest of all time, and hard for everybody else to admit because he has got blonde hair, blue eyes. And HBO has their new docuseries, The Defiant Ones, talking about Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. And Dr. Dre pretty much credited Eminem to saving his career because he had 2 failed albums before Eminem. And he put all of his eggs in one basket, which is Eminem, and nobody wanted to support him. They wanted him out of the building, and you know what happened next.
You know what? I'm a big fan of Jay-Z. I'm a big fan of Eminem, and I got to say, if I went song by song, I'd say Eminem tops it. And the person that I would really want to get feedback from, which I guess we can text and find out, is Jason Ferrugia. And
now the thing is, like, if you put them on stage side by side and had them battle with no preparation.
Oh, I think Eminem would destroy Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I think Eminem would destroy Jay-Z. And the fact is, this man can like just rhyme from the top of his head better than anyone on the planet.
Not to give anything away in the last episode of the Defiant Ones, but when Dr. Dre took Eminem to his house and he just let him listen to a couple beats, and within like 3 minutes he was already singing Slim Shady, and right off the top of his head, Eminem was just like, I didn't want him to play any beats and me not have any lyrics for it, so I just started saying whatever, and it just came out. And
so you gotta wonder. I guess it bears to ask: is this a reverse racism thing? Because I know historically everyone says that rap music is black music, but here's a guy who's clearly not pigmented, black. And he's kicking ass. And I think we ought to give credit where credit is due. If we're really going to say no color lines, give the man credit where credit is due. I think 50 Cent nailed it on that one. Yep.
Yeah, but Dr. Dre was onto something when he was teamed up with Eminem, and then from there him and Jimmy Iovine created Beats by Dre. But before that, they were trying to talk Dre into creating a sneaker line.
Yeah. So it's funny because I read Jimmy Iovine's book, and then it's funny, right after I read that, Howard Stern had him on the show, and Howard asked him, like, so how did Beats come around? And I guess Dr. Dre gets a call from his attorney, and the attorney's like, hey, I've got this wonderful business idea for you, sneakers. You gotta have sneakers, like Sneakers by Dre. And so Dre goes to Jimmy Iovine and he says, hey man, I think I got a great business idea, sneakers. And Jimmy goes, Sneakers? You're in music, man. You're all about speakers. And that's how the Beats came about, the headphones instead of the sneakers, which the story to that goes, right?
Yeah. And his whole marketing plan was just making it about status and style and putting it into the right people's hands, influencers. So they put it on every music artist they could, every athlete. I think it was like the U.S. men's basketball team, were wearing them at the Olympics, and then they created one for every country with their flags on the side until the Olympics banned them because they weren't an official sponsor. Yeah. And the NBA, same thing. They ended up banning them because they weren't an official sponsor, and then the NFL were banning players from wearing them because they weren't an official sponsor. So they were really scaling up by just doing that guerrilla marketing and using influencers to grow the business until that, and then after that. They went to Apple with Beats Music, and we know what happened after that.
Was that like a $3 billion deal?
Yeah, like $3.2 billion they walked out of there with.
Billies.
Apple made hip hop's first billionaire.
Yeah.
With Dr. Dre. But whenever you're growing a business and you're scaling, when's like the right time? When do you know when to sell and when to keep pushing?
Kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Is there's only going to be a time where you're going to scale, and at some point you're going to actually contract, right? Expansion, contraction. Businesses never, for anyone watching it who's an entrepreneur, and if you're watching us, you're likely an entrepreneur, businesses never maintain. Businesses never maintain because the economy changes, inflation changes, there's always someone creating a better mousetrap. And so here's a great example of that they put the product in someone else's hands that could have bigger reach. So maybe Dr. Dre was like, hey, this is as big as I can go with my reach. It doesn't mean that the scaling of that product stopped. It just meant that his ability to scale it stopped. He puts it in the hands of Apple, and Apple says, hey, here's how we can grow further. And of course, they created the music site, right?
Yeah, Beats Music.
Yeah, Beats Music with it. Another example of that on the con and pro side of it is in the fitness industry, you look at Curves, right? Curves grew in 2006. They have 15,400 locations worldwide. Today they have under 4,000 locations. They're contracting massively, and no one will touch them with a 10-foot pole. Nobody wants to buy them. On the flip side, you look at Massage Envy. Yeah. Massage Envy had about 1,800, 1,900 locations, and they sold to a big New York venture capital firm. And they thought, hey, we were tapped out as far as the owner, what he can do to grow it. The venture capital firm bought it, injected more money into it, and took it international, and now they've got over 3,000 locations. Nice. So it's pretty neat to see how businesses can scale, and then the scaling stops. If it stays in the hands of that person, it contracts.
Yeah.
If it moves hands, then it keeps scaling. Yeah.
Nice. Next up is we have Mark Zuckerberg couldn't buy Snapchat years ago, so now he's close to destroying the company.
Yeah.
So the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. He reversed that. If you can't join them, beat them.
Yeah.
So he offered them, I guess it was $3 billion, like 2013 maybe, something like that.
Yeah. So was that 4 years ago?
So 4 years ago, and then Snapchat just went public in March. It's $17 a share. I think the highest they got up to was like 24 or something. And at that point, they were worth each owner was worth $3 billion each. But since Facebook releasing their stories and similar features, they've now dropped below their IPO, opening amount of 17. They're down to like $15 now.
Gotcha.
And do you think that's because of Facebook has that much influence?
Yeah.
On Snapchat?
I think Facebook is the smartest thing that I believe that Zuckerberg did was get his arms around Instagram, because he knew he could do things with Instagram that he couldn't necessarily do with Facebook. And so he uses Instagram to kind of get his arms around the younger generation who had gotten gotten hooked on Snapchat, right? And so really he's got both populations going, people kind of north of 35 on Facebook and south of 35 on Instagram, and sadly he's putting Snapchat out of business. Here's the crazy thing. Like you said, when Snapchat goes public, it's $17 a share. On paper, all three of the owners are worth $3 billion apiece. Or I'm sorry, two of the owners. There's two owners. They're each worth $3 billion apiece. Now you and I both know that if something goes public right away, if one of the owners sells it, it collapses. Because even though technically on paper you're worth $3 billion, you don't have that in the bank. And so how great would it have been if they didn't let their greed glands interrupt their logic 3-4 years ago and go, you know what, this dude's giving us $3 million that we're going to split 50-50, or $3 billion that we're going to split 50-50. I'll take the $3 billion that we're going to split 50-50 of real money than $3 billion a piece of, on paper.
And like you said, Facebook with their marketing horsepower and all the dollars they have behind that could have taken Snapchat a lot further than where it is today.
Yeah.
And they could have even kept this piece and went along for the ride. So I think I would have taken that deal.
Yeah. I bet hindsight though is so 2020. I often wonder what would I have done? But the decisions that I'm making now about Snapchat, if I were the owner, is based on what I know.
Yeah.
And I wonder, man, would I really have done that, or would I have let my ego get in the way and go, man, I'm worth $3 billion, he's worth $3 billion. You got to offer us at least 6 or 7 for us to consider it. But whatever, hindsight's 2020.
Nice. So next up is the problem solver game. So I have a couple questions for you. You have a couple questions for me.
All right.
I guess I'll go first.
Sure.
So you just signed a lease for your new location, and then you found out that your loan from the bank that you thought was going to go through no problem got denied.
Yeah.
What do? You have no email list, no current clients, you're fresh, you're brand new, just starting out, and you have about 10 grand to your name.
Oh man, what would I do?
Now you have this build out you need to do, you have payments coming up.
Can I ask a question? Am I in the fitness industry, or is this any kind of entrepreneur?
Fitness industry.
Okay, so if I'm in the fitness industry, then here's what I would do. I would just take people to the park and train them, but I'd set a 90-day exit plan from the park. I would.
You have a building and a lease that's already signed. You're responsible for the lease.
Oh, I've signed a lease already.
Yeah, you
I just
signed
need to
the
build
lease.
it out, but I didn't get the loan.
Right.
Oh.
But you're on the hook for the lease.
Easy.
5 years.
This is actually easier. Any clients that I have right now?
You have 0.
I have 0. This is horrible. This is horrible. Abandoned ship. No, so quite honestly, it would go right back to door-to-door marketing. Right, I'd go start. I got no email list, and let's say I've got no access to anything else.
Get 10 grand to your name.
If I got 10 grand to my name, I'm going to run Facebook ads, and I'm going to go door to door in the most affluent communities.
What's the offer going to be?
The offer is going to be, hey, I'm starting a fitness boot camp, or I'm starting a personal training business right down the street. The reality is that I was going to get a loan, but I wasn't able to qualify for the loan, so I'm looking for lifetime clients. If you're willing to give me $3,000 right now in full, I'm willing to give you a 10-year membership, a lifetime membership. And if I can sell 10 of those, right? I got 30 G's. I mean, could I really sell 10 of those between Facebook? Now on Facebook, the offer wouldn't be I'm selling lifetime memberships. It would be for low barrier offers. But then I'd get on the phone with these people and say, hey, look, here's who I am, here's what I'm doing. I'd give a passionate plea, and I would say, but if you give me $3,000, you get a lifetime membership for the next 10 years. By the way, whenever y'all do lifetime memberships, put an expiration date on it. Otherwise, technically, you kind of owe it to them for the rest of your life or their life, and that's kind of a long commitment. Right?
What if you go out of business?
See, that's the other thing. And what if you go out of business? And so there's a lot of factors there. But in my particular case, I would offer just lifetime memberships or 5 or 10-year memberships for a smoking deal, just to enough people to cover the build-out cost. And then from there, I got my build-out money. It's back to normal business. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So the next one, you just finished your book, Man Up.
Yeah.
Finished last night?
2 nights ago.
All right. So 2 nights ago, you finished Man Up. So excited, ready to hit send on the email to your publisher. All of a sudden you sneeze, knock coffee all over your computer, and blank screen.
Yeah.
Everyth's gone. What do you do?
See, our friends watching are like, well, that's a unique scenario. That would never happen. That exact same thing happened to me, except I wasn't writing the book. But so he raised the stakes. And so, man, if that happened while I was writing the book, because of that situation, I've got Carbonite backing us up, and we also are always backing up at the headquarters as well. And I'm fanatically hitting save on my hard drive. So I guess if the hard drive burns out, I'm screwed, right? But it's backing up.
This happened the first time.
Dude, you know what? I would just suck it up and start writing all over again.
Just right then, and go out and buy a new computer right then, and
That's it.
Do you think you had enough of it in your head that you could get pretty close?
Yeah. You know why? And I know you're not supposed to do this when you're writing a book. They say just put everything out there and then go back and correct it. I can't help it. I'm so OCD. I'll write 3 paragraphs and then go back and read it and clean it up and see how I can wordsmith it better. Then I'll write 3 more paragraphs and then go back and read all that, which is why it's taken me so long. So I've literally read my book so many times by the time I did hit send, maybe 40, 50 times already, that I pretty much have it all committed to memory, majority of it.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of now turning on the drag and dictate and then redictating it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be that bad then.
It wouldn't be the worst thing. Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I got a couple questions for you. And this is going to sound weird until I position it for you. What is the best way to ask someone to borrow their phone? But I'm gonna say to you this way. You have your phone with you, but you've got no service, no Wi-Fi and no service with you. You're at the beach and you're waiting for a Super Bowl champion to show up to surf with you, who's new to the state. Now you're walking car to car asking for the phone, and people think that you're a creep. What is the best way to ask someone for a phone?
Well, that's like the worst scenario. I hate, that's like, please don't ask me to borrow my phone, because
Right.
like it's so personal, and as you can relate, having some OCD and
Yeah.
a little bit of germaphobe, you don't know where people's hands are. I would be looking at their hands, looking at their ear.
Yeah.
What I would probably do is, knowing that that's how they're feeling, because that's how I would feel, I would just tell them the situation, like, look, I don't need to dial it, just put it on speaker, let me give you the number and just hold it up so I can hear. And I got money, I'll go buy you, dinner,
Yeah.
So
I suppose I
I would
could've done that.
try to exchange something that I do have, so they know I'm not a creep. Like, hey, I'm not homeless. Here's, if I have $50 or $20, like, here's $50. Keep it on speakerphone. I don't want to touch it. I know it's your phone. Just hold it up so I can hear, and yeah, that would be great.
In hindsight, that would have been a great strategy to use. That's not the strategy I
Also,
used.
that really happened.
Yeah, that happened to Doheny. So Steve Weatherford, right? Steve Weatherford was a punter for the New York Giants, and he's got a Super Bowl ring with the Giants. And anyway, so long story short, he just moved from New Jersey to California, and we were going to meet up and surf. Well, we were going to talk about his business and then surf for a little bit if we had time. We did. So I said, hey, I'll meet you at Dana Point. And I told him exactly where we meet up, but of course he went to the harbor, then he went there. My phone wasn't working because I got two phones now, right? And I was trying to transfer everything from one to the other. But then when I took, how my Denali has internet? So I thought if I took the Denali, the transfer would be happening. Last minute, I zigged and I took the truck. No internet. So the phone, while I had it with me, there was no transferring of numbers. One was dead now and one hadn't fully transferred over. So I had his number, but I had no other way of reaching him. So finally I go to this truck with three ladies, and I'm like, hey, look. So I go, maybe if I just tell the whole story, this will work better. I go, hey, listen, that's my truck over there. You can see I got two surfboards. I'm waiting for a friend. He's 45 minutes late. He's a Super Bowl champion. He played for the New York Giants. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh, man, now they think I'm a liar. Like, this is becoming a really big fabricated story. And I just started, like, turning away, like, you know what? Never mind. They're like, what do you need to do? You just need the phone? I'm like, yes. She goes, here's my phone, right? So I call, and I guide him in, and sure enough, he rolls up. And I'm like, see, I'm not a liar. And I'm now pointing him out to everybody else who said no.
Did he have his ring with him so he could show, prove that he
No, but he had his big traps and shoulders. And so anyway, I'm like, see, I'm not a creep, I'm not a liar. But it was the worst experience ever. Yeah.
Nice.
So to that point, here's another one for you. You're broadcasting on a Facebook Live, and you're just doing it yourself, though. You've got it in selfie mode. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, a call comes in and interrupts your broadcast. What do you do?
So has this happened to you before?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever you do a Facebook Live,
Yeah.
put it on airplane mode and then turn Wi-Fi on.
You can put on airplane mode and turn the Wi-Fi on, and it would broadcast?
Yeah, because you're broadcasting through Wi-Fi. And then you don't have to worry about anybody calling you.
Oh, shit. I went out. That's the reason I went out and bought a second phone. So one of them is a phone, and the other one is just there to like broadcast with. Yeah. So I got two. All right.
Airplane mode, Wi-Fi, you're good.
London, I told you that left and right. You're like, no, go out and buy another phone. Girl.
If you want to give me the phone that you purchased, that's fine.
Well, I'm going to keep it now because now I think I'm really cool. I'm too cool for school. Hello, what you got? Pizza or chicken? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
You're like
I
a
got two
doctor
phones.
with like 4 beepers,
Yeah, or a pimp. Yeah, probably more like a doctor. All right, topic number 4.
Would you rather?
Would you rather? Let's hear it.
All right. Would you rather have internet access? Would you rather never have internet access again, or never be able to take an airplane again?
Ooh,
Oh, shit.
I'd rather never be able to take an airplane again.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, I can drive, I can take a train.
it would suck, but
Yeah, I need the
it would
internet.
suck less.
Yeah, exactly. I need the internet to make the monies. Yeah.
Would you rather end hunger or end hatred?
You know what? I would rather end hunger, because if we end hatred, people are still going to starve to death.
See, I thought if you ended hatred, that would end hunger.
If you knew that was the case, then I'm with you 100%.
Because they've proven there's enough food in the world to feed everybody in the world. but they still don't get fed. So if there's no hatred, you think people would be compassionate enough?
Wait, so if there's no hatred, somehow food would end up in Somalia?
Well, people would care more. Because if there's no hatred, you would have the opposite would have to be
You'd
amplified.
send food there.
You would think.
You know what? That's a far stretch, but all right, I'm going to go with you if that's the
Maybe.
case. But if not, I'd rather end hunger and we can just throw all the people who hate into the ocean.
Would you rather be incredibly happy but alone forever, or unhappy but with the love of your life?
Wait, if I'm with the love of my life, aren't I happy?
Not necessarily. I mean, people marry the love of their life all the time and they're unhappy.
How?
Well, they say it's the love of maybe it was the love of their life. The love of your life doesn't make you happy, only you make yourself happy.
All right, you're going deep here, and we haven't smoked out, so I mean, London hasn't smoked out yet. No one around here smokes weed.
We just eat it.
Or eats it. But all right, I would rather be unhappy with the love of my life because I think I'd find a way to be happy with the love of my life. Yeah.
Because there's always hope that you could become happy at some point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I don't know where this one came from, but would you rather fight like Mike Tyson or talk like him the rest of your life? Would you rather fight him or talk?
Oh, right. The question is, would you rather fight him, right?
Yeah. Would you rather fight Mike Tyson or talk like him the rest of your
I'd
life?
rather fight him. I don't want to talk like him. I'd rather fight him and take an ass whooping. And they got great medical services. They can put my jaw back together, right? Tori, they're gonna wire my jaw back together. My nose, I mean, can't get any worse. That's an easy one. It's easy. I'd fight him, I'd recover, and I'd still be me, and he'd still talk like himself. Yeah, that's easy enough. So I got some questions for you.
All right.
Would you rather die saving 10,000 strangers from death, knowing no one would ever know about it, that it was you, or live knowing that everyone would know you decided not to save 10,000 people's lives?
I wouldn't care if everybody knew. I would know that I saved 10,000, so I would die saving 10,000 lives.
All right. And would you rather have everything you've ever wanted, but you die in 1 year? These are such extreme questions. Have everything you ever wanted and you die in 1 year, or live the rest of your life the way you live now?
I was never supposed to have what I have now, so I've already won. So I would just continue living as it is now.
Love it.
So I've had more than what I've ever wanted and more than I was ever supposed to have. So I'm good.
All right, here's another one. I think this is a little deeper. Would you rather have unlimited respect or unlimited power?
I'd rather have unlimited respect because unlimited power, doesn't make you feel good to be more powerful than somebody and force them to do something they don't want to do. People do it out of respect, and loyalty goes much further for me. So I would go with respect.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. The last question I have is, would you rather give up sex for a year or give up your smartphone for a month?
I give up the smartphone for a month.
Yeah. What about 6 months of no smartphone?
Probably still say smartphone.
Okay.
You still have your laptop and.
True. The laptop, you can download the phone feature onto your laptop. Well said. Well said. All right.
Awesome. So next up is a topic that you're great at. I'm horrible at, so I'm not even going to try to guess this because the one time we played Cranium, like you and John were getting the name the tunes, and I was out of those. But we want to see how good the audience is at naming that tune. You are going to either hum or drum a tune. And one of you guys are going to try to guess it. And first one to put the answer in the comment section below wins this beautiful BK hat. So whenever you're ready.
So let me tell you where I got the idea from. I got really the idea from the time that we played Cranium together. And I realized I have this amazing capability of whistling songs, which I never knew. And so then, of course, I took that to the HQ, and about once a week, I'll roll in with like a $10 Starbucks card, and I'll say, hey, everybody gather around, and like 40 people just go around me, and I whistle a piece of a song, and I walk away, and I go, first person to email me the song. Sometimes it'll be the song, other times it'll be song and artist, wins this $10 gift card. So I figured it'd be a fun thing to do here, and then of course we'd have the prize of the BK hat.
Awesome.
All right, so everybody brace yourself. Here I go. I'm just gonna give you one piece of it. That's it. That's it. So you got this thing on replay. First person to tell us what the name of the song is, and I'm not going to ask for the artist.
I think the hand things helped, and the hips helped.
Yes, you got to sway the hips. You got to sway the hips. Yeah. First person to leave in the comment the name of the song only will, and of course, then you're gonna probably have to send your address to London. Don't send me your address. Yeah. We will send you this BK hat. It's only been worn twice and sweated once. No, it's never been worn. So we'll send it out to you, and that's that.
Awesome. And then let's wrap it up with our unicorn sighting of the week. You actually had the privilege of surfing with him. He was the keynote speaker at FBS. I got the privilege of interviewing him at FBS on the red carpet. It's none other than
Steve Weatherford. Yeah, there he is. He is
sporting his surfer abs.
Sporting. You should get him for the surfer abs promo, dude. Seriously, and he's actually just as ripped, but about 40 pounds more muscular.
And I don't really believe they're real tattoos after meeting him because he's so proper and dressed.
So clean cut, right? Yeah.
So he's hardcore.
He hides the gang tattoos really well. Actually, he just retired from the Giants 2 years ago, and he's got a great product called Armageddon, hence Armageddon. And I was asking why did you come up with the product name Armageddon of all things? Why not a product for punters or whatever, right? Something that has to do more in line with what he did. And he pulled up some YouTube videos of himself playing games in the NFL, and he always wore those long sleeve spandex, whatever they're called,
Under
Armour shirts, right? And he goes, "Do you know why I was wearing those?" I go, "No." He goes, "I was so embarrassed by how skinny my arms were."
Well, compared to everybody else on the field.
Right. And so when he retired, he just committed that I'm going to make my worst attribute my best attribute.
Nice.
And I was introduced to him by Jason Ferrugia and Lewis House virtually at the same time within a day, and they both just spoke so highly of him. And of course, having hung out with him at FBS and then surfing, and he's been so generous and just connecting me with all the right people for no reason. He had nothing to gain from me. And then the thing that made him the unicorn in my mind was the fact that he decided he's going to take his worst attribute that he has, and instead of continue to hide it, that he was going to abolish slavery. That's how he calls it, right? Abolish slavery, abolish slavery, and create a product called Armageddon. And for that to happen, he had to grow his arms, and his arms are massive now. And so I believe he is our official unicorn of the week.
Awesome. Yeah. When me and Carlo interviewed him on the red carpet, we knew nothing about him except he was a Super Bowl champ. So of course we asked him all football-related questions during the interview, and then at the very end, he mentions his association that he had created.
Yeah, he's got a wonderful charity that he gets behind. And in fact, when we were in the water, a few people were like, "Hey, you're that guy. You're from the NFL. You're Steve Weatherford." And they were trying to impress him by talking football, and he's like, "Hey, just to let you know, I hate football. I'm a punter. I can talk soccer, and let's talk about."
Yeah, we interviewed him for an hour all about football, and then at the very end, he started talking about fitness, and you could see he just lit up and started getting energized and talking about it. Yep.
Yeah. So here's what's cool: is about 8 or 9 days ago, he moved to Southern California from New Jersey. Now that he's retired, so he's going to be living here on the West Coast, and we'll get to spend some more time with him in the water, and hopefully. I'm not saying that there was any risk of him drowning the other day when I went surfing with him, but there might have been a small risk of him drowning, but he got out of the water just fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, what is the shirt that we are sending him?
That's right, I forgot. We are unveiling the unicorn shirt today. So this will be the front of the shirt.
How badass is that?
That is our badass unicorn. Mm-hmm. And this is the back. You're going to be a rare breed. And you cannot buy these shirts. You can only earn them. And there is no protocol on how to earn them. You just have to show up and be yourself and kick ass and make it on to our unicorn sighting of the week.
That's
We'll send you one of these shirts.
All right, so Steve, we're going to get one of these in the mail for you, extra schmedium. And we're going to cut the arms off, and we're going to abolish slavery. Yeah.
Awesome. That's it for this week, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.